Hey now, what is up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I am here to talk about and review Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This is a 1986 comedy film that was directed by John Hughes, and the plot is we see Ferris Bueller, played by Matthew Broderick, who is sick. At least he's pretending to be sick. At the beginning of this movie, he's pretending to be sick to his parents and really to anyone and everyone because he wants to stay home. In fact, he wants to have the time of his life. The best day ever. He wants to go out with his friend and his girlfriend, drive this nice car, and just have a blast. Who could blame him? But the thing is, he has to keep this up because his principal is on to him, his sister is on to him, a few different people are trying to prove that he's faking it, so he has to keep this up to have fun. Now, what I think of Ferris Bueller's Day Off is, and this is actually pretty interesting because, surprise, surprise, this is the very first time I have ever seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I know some people, minds are blown. They can't believe it that somebody has never had seen this movie growing up and whatnot. Yeah, there are just some movies, certain 80s movies especially, that I just missed out on. This is one of them. In fact, I watched this. I bought it because I planned to watch it one day. But I watched it now when I did because my girlfriend kind of just sat me down and said, we're watching this. So thankfully for her, I did. And this movie, I loved. I really, really enjoyed this film. I had so much fun with it. I had a lot of laughs and just fun. Ferris Bueller, played by Matthew Broderick. I really liked him, and that's surprising for me because honestly, I was going into this ready to not like him. Not just because, well, if you really look at this character, the 28-year-old in me now watching it looks to him and says, wow, Ferris is a dick. He is. Or he's kind of an asshole. He's not only faking being sick, which look, we've all done it. I did it a couple times. I'm not too proud of. But hey, fake being sick because you just didn't feel like going to school for that day, or there was something else you wanted to do and you stayed home and it worked. But to see him and the rules that he has for how to successfully pull this off, he's clearly done it so many times. He's clearly a pro at it. He's so even conceited or just so full of himself with how he can pull it off. But there is the teenage part of me who years ago would have thought this guy was the coolest guy ever. So I understand both aspects of it, but also his parents. I felt so bad for his parents, especially his mother, who believes him, took his word for it, even when the principal called her and says, look, this is like the 9th time he's called out, and she's like, really? No, he's definitely sick. I trust him. When she goes home to check on him, and he has that mannequin set up in his bed to look like he's sleeping, and has the recording of snoring, and she comes in and she believes him. She takes his word for it. It's just, a part of me feels bad, but also Matthew Broderick as an actor, I've never really liked him as an actor. Nothing personal or anything. Every time I would see him in a movie, at least the movies I have seen of him in, he never impressed me. He never struck me as a really good actor. But this film, the character's so well written, and he's young, so it's the most sort of energy and charisma I've ever seen him bring to a character, and I think he was able to pull it off. Alan Ruck, Cameron Fryer, I felt bad for this dude. I did, because he is a good guy. Ultimately, he has so much anxiety about not just he's only at home because he's actually sick. So he gets talked into going out and hanging out with him. He gets talked into letting Ferris use his father's fucking awesome car and going out there and driving it, and he's freaking out the whole time. I'm freaking out for him. When they give the car to the guy at the garage, and I knew that he was going to go off and drive with it with his friend and put how much mileage on it? I was freaking out just like Fryer was. His girlfriend, Sloane Peterson, is played by Mia Sara, and she's hot, man, especially back then. She was really hot, and I love the scam that they pull off to get her out of school as well. How Ferris pretends to be her father and gets one over on the principal. All of that was great. The principal, Ed Rooney, is played by Jeffrey Jones, and this is an actor that I remember I used to always see in 80s movies, and when you look up what has happened to him in real life, and let's just say it, he's a registered sex offender now for some weird fucked up shit. It's like a part of me can't help but think of that when I see him now in movies or back in the older movies, but at the same time, he was still a funny actor. He still pulled off these funny comedic moments very well, like as obsessed as he was with catching Ferris and proving him wrong, or going to his house and interacting with the dog. Ferris's sister, Jeannie, played by Jennifer Grey. Jeannie, you could say that she's a bitch, right? Or you could say that she should be more annoying. I should hate her because she's against Ferris. She spends this whole movie shitting on him and wanting to expose him and get him in trouble with the parents. But the whole time I understood. I was like, I get it. She hates the fact that he constantly does this, and his parents just kind of lets him, or they're so gullible to go along with it. But she could never pull this off, and there's some resentment there. I got it. I understood it. Even the one scene she has with a young Charlie Sheen, I thought was really funny. I should mention the fact that Ferris does fourth wall breaking, something that I think is pretty funny. Love seeing him interact with the audience and just kind of explaining everything that he's doing and really adds to the character. And the fact that almost he knows it's a movie, I guess. But even the after credit scene of him breaking the fourth wall and telling everybody to go home, it makes that Deadpool after credit scene that much funnier. And the last thing I want to mention is something very random. Ben Stein has a small part as a teacher in this movie. And there's a couple times where they cut back to him as the teacher and all the kids are half asleep listening to him. And him as a teacher and his deadpan, monotone way of speaking. It's hard to explain why, but I found that so funny. Every time they cut back to him and he just kept asking, does anybody know? Anybody know? And he just proceeds to answer his own questions. I laughed every single time. So many times where I laughed in this movie. This film was great. This film was fun. This just had a lot of great relatable characters. I loved the premise. I loved Matthew Broderick, which is something I've never said before. So obviously it's a John Hughes movie. I should have known better. I really like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So guys, let me know in the comments below. You've probably seen this movie because I'm the last person to have seen it. Let me know what you think of it. How much do you like it? What's your favorite part of the movie? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.